Michigan is considering a law to license journalists. The same thing has already started up in Washington State. Tyranny's here, folks. Israel now has 3 nuclear subs, German-built, with nuclear cruise missiles, nuclear weapon-tipped cruise missiles, warhead-tipped cruise missiles, off the coast of Iran, threatening to nuke them at any time. Turkey's saying this could cause war. So is Syria and Lebanon. Turkey says they're dispatching warships with the next flotilla because a Turkish flag ship was attacked. It's an act of war, folks, like Ron Paul said. A blockade is an act of war. Gaza is sovereign. Again, folks, this isn't some macho talk or what side you're on, okay? I want to stop war. I don't hate Israel, okay? And I don't hate the Palestinians. The average person over there just wants to live in peace. And the Arab governments have done a lot to not let Gazans get out into Egypt and other areas. But look at Egypt. Can they take 1.5 million refugees on? But this attack, here's the $64 million question. Are the explosions and gunfire we hear rubber bullets, flashbangs, and tear gas when the Israeli naval gunboats are attacking, or are they real rounds? If they're lead or full metal jacket rounds, this is an act of war, an act of piracy, an act of just criminality. It is an act of aggression. It's what the Nuremberg Code covers. Now, if they knew weapons were being shipped in, we're going to break and come back with Mike Rivero joining us video Skype. If they have absolute proof weapons were being brought into Gaza under international law, just like the 1961 Cuban Missile Crisis, they could go out in international waters and stop those ships. But it's very specific. They could fire across the bow. If they didn't stop, they could shoot the rudder off. But if they fired on anybody on that unarmed ship, it is a serious crime. Now, the Arab media did report that no one hit the Israelis or stabbed them. There's now stills and video shot by Al Jazeera, by Press TV, so by Arab-friendly media, Muslim-friendly media, showing them beating the commandos as they hit the deck. Now, if the Israelis were firing at them, even with flashbangs, those can kill you. What do you expect the people to do? I made the joke at the start of the show, a sick joke. It's really not even a joke. It's dark satire to illustrate something. If Ahmadinejad fired at an Israeli bomber at 80,000 feet, if at 80,000 feet a bomber dropped a airburst hydrogen 50 megaton bomb on Tehran, as that plane flies over, if Ahmadinejad or even an Iranian child fired at it with a slingshot, the media would call the child a coward and would call the slingshot the most deadly weapon in the known galaxy. They'd call it a black hole projecting weapon or something. They'd call it a end of days devil weapon. They'd call it just the ultimate demon. And so that's the new situation, and the world sees the hypocrisy, whether you support Israel or not. Look, armored ships coming up to unarmed former cruise ships and attacking them, and commandos coming on board and people fighting them with pipes. Humans, on average, are going to emotionally side with the people fighting with stones and rocks and pipes. And that's why the whole world is turning against Israel. Whereas 30 years ago, when the Arabs were always attacking Israel, the people sided with Israel because they were the little guy. They were the underdog. Israel is not the underdog in all of this. And Israel's talking about nuclear war now. This is a very serious situation. All right, we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Once a month, Mike Rivero joins us, Genesis talk show host. Also has the website whatreallyhappened.com. Our websites are infowars.com and prisonplanet.com. And he has really done a lot of research on the Israeli/Palestinian conflict, what's been happening in Gaza, what's been going on in Lebanon. But I specifically want him to give us his take today, and I'm going to speak to this and take your phone calls at 800-259-9231 on where you see all this going. Because, a lot of people don't pay attention to what's happening in Israel. this tribal warfare has been going on for thousands of years between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and it's only intensifying, but people kind of get mentally worn out. They get exhausted, and they stop paying attention. But this is a new escalation with Turkey, not just Lebanon or Syria, the usual suspects threatening war or saying this could cause war, but Turkey. This was a Turkish-flagged former cruise ship attacked. Any way you slice it in international waters, and Turkey is angry, a top ally, along with the United States, of Israel. So a huge political shift here. And so we're going to be discussing that. And then coming up later, Michigan considers law to license journalists. This is in the Associated Press, Reuters, and Fox News. And what's scary is the media is reporting it like it's reasonable. And other states are moving as well to where I won't be able to be on the air. No, I have to have a government license. They have to approve. And that's what the New York Times and also many members of the White House are, Obama czars are saying, you have to be vetted. We have to decide, or we're going to put messages up on your website, government pop-ups that say stuff isn't true or that directs you to government or other media. Of course, that was in the news last week. We're kicking their hind ends. They are going to try this. So you better enjoy the internet while it's here. And you better use it to wake people up while it's here. Because the new media is destroying the old media. And so you got the mainstream media teamed up with government wanting to block that. So we'll get Mike Rivero's take on that. Also, I had a lady coming in next hour, a friend of my wife, but she chickened out. And I don't blame her. A lot of people do. That's why this country's falling apart. Even though when I said, look, I won't use your real name, her daughter went to one of the suburbs in Austin, first grade, and I was talking to her at a birthday party this weekend for my daughter, and it was out in Lakeway, and they basically turn the kids against the parents. They have them coming home and crying. Every time they see a development, they're taught that bunny rabbits are dying. Other mothers were there saying, yeah, that's why I took my kids out of school. We know them because of a homeschooling group. That they come in and don't tell the kids that it's a drill, and they turn the lights off, and a man in a mask comes in with a gun. But she chickened out to come on the show, and that's okay. Because she also had the document, but separately I had this out of the Washington Post, where they say that under a red-level terror emergency, your children will be taken to FEMA centers. And that's in the Washington Post. We wrote an article about it 4 years ago, but the point is she got one of these at that elementary school. Okay? So this is part of a FEMA operation. Well, guess what? Even though she won't come on the show today, I have mainstream news articles about it separately in other parts of the country, so that's coming up. But enough of me. Let's go to Mike Rivero joining us via video Skype if you're a PrisonPlanet.tv viewer. If not, he'll be joining you via the audio spectrum for radio listeners. Mike, let's run through the gamut. Break down what you see happening from the latest info, what really happened. If you have a clearer picture, I know it's still somewhat foggy, of what happened to the flotilla yesterday and what this is going to do internationally.
Well, the situation with the flotilla, as you say, it's very murky. Israel has a complete media blackout. People are not being allowed to talk to the prisoners. We don't even have a complete list of the number of the names of the people who've been killed, although the number is now 20. We're being told that died in this situation. We are aware of what happened mostly because of one live video feed that was able to get off the ship while it was being attacked. In that video feed, apparently the Israeli troops that were coming on board were carrying these pre-printed target lists of activists that were supposed to be killed, and we just had a member of the Knesset basically go public saying that Israel wanted to have a lot of deaths as a deterrent to any more of these blockade runners. But the bottom line is this is clearly a violation of international law. When you are a ship at sea, that deck of your ship is the sovereign territory of the nation whose flag you fly. It's like a foreign embassy. When you set foot on the deck of a ship flying the flag of the United States of America, you are setting foot on U.S. territory. When you set foot on the deck of a ship flying the Turkish flag, you are setting foot on Turkish territory. If you do so without the permission of the captain or the government, that is an invasion and an act of war. Now, the bottom line is that Israel's claims that these humanitarian aid ships were filled with weapons is complete nonsense. They had no proof of it whatsoever. The one photo that Israel has put out so far to show the weapons that were found on board the ship, it's basically wooden poles and kitchen knives. And Israel is saying these are weapons because the people of Gaza could use them to attack, Israelis, with these ceramic cooking knives and stuff like this.
Well, that's why they said Hatari had weapons of mass destruction. Weapons of mass destruction are not handguns, but this isn't even handguns. It's cooking utensils now. So I guess everybody's got to be nuked because now a cooking knife is a weapon of mass destruction.
Apparently, a pointy stick is now reason to start opening fire on the peace activists.